We immediately went up to our marked containers, and as we stood before them, two beeps sounded, one from each of our wrists. Looking down, a green button was blinking. I didn't waste time questioning and pressed it, with Val pressing it just after me. A smaller holoscreen came up between us in the air, and from how Val was looking, it seemed to be broadcasting in both directions. Shock registered immediately. This wasn't an alien. Instead, there was a woman in the frame who was clearly dressed and framed like a reporter.
Hi, I'm Annabelle Jones, and I've been selected to be your counsel during the game. You are currently broadcasting live to the entire world. It's good to see you both alive. Can I ask you both for some information about yourselves? I'm familiar, but the world wants to hear who you are.
I nodded to Val, signaling for her to go first.
I'm Valerie McKinnon. I was born and raised in Portland, Oregon, and I'm 26 years old. Up until this happened, I was an office manager.
She nodded and I began.
My name's Keith Morehouse, and while I'll admit I'm new to Portland, I live in Wood Village. I just got out of the Army after serving 2 tours, and used my enlistment bonus to buy some land I was building on and work in construction to pay for it.
The anchor woman gave a sympathetic look to us both.
I know that this must be frightening for both of you, but I've been instructed to take you through some new features going forward in the game. You were both given the basic rules, but there are other things. First and foremost, your suits and the nanites they put inside you are reading your body on a constant basis. If you are medically unfit to continue, you will be forfeit.
I cut in.
So it's not just death we gotta be watching for, right? Dehydration, starvation, frostbite, severe injury or illness. Anything that gets us to a certain point, and we're out. I got that right?
She nodded.
Yes, that's correct. The buttons on your wrists correspond to certain functions within the game. The blue button is for when you wish to voluntarily forfeit. The green button you've just pressed will connect you with your counsel during certain hours. Be aware that there are limits on what I can tell you. Then, there's a red button. The red button allows a privacy mode, in which you won't be on camera, and it can be used for up to an hour a day.
This time Val cut in.
What about our families? Can we talk to them?
Annabelle got sad and then,
I'm sorry, but that's not within the rules. I'm sorry, but I've been told to assure you that your family is alive and well.
Val got a confused look.
Just my family? What about...
Mine's already dead. They died while I was deployed.
I said it as matter-of-factly as possible, and even Annabelle flinched. I continued steering the conversation back to things relevant here.
What else do we need to know?
Annabelle took a moment to compose herself.
As you've learned, there are achievements within the game that can gain you advantages, and as well, if the citizens of the Dominion see fit, they can grant minor boons to you. Advantages are larger, while boons are smaller items that can help in a pinch. I cannot give you details about the achievements, but you'll get alerts on your displays when you've met the requirements for the achievements. Before I go, however, know that all Earth, everyone, of every race, every creed, and every religion stand with you, and we pray for you.
The screen cut out, and I hit the red button. An alert came up in the top left of my display. Privacy mode, with a timer counting down underneath it. Val came around the containers fast and suddenly threw her arms around. It's probably the first hug I've had in a few years now, and I felt my body start to shake a bit. I returned it slightly, then pushed back.
I'm all right, Val. It's okay, I need to talk to you for a bit.
We don't have to do this right now. You should take a minute.
And there it was, that same look I always got. I put one hand on the back of my head for a moment to sort of steady myself and rein it in.
Sigh. It wouldn't be a minute. And frankly, my sympathy well's about bottomed out. I'm not trying to be mean, it's just, every time it comes up, everyone gives some version of the look you're giving me now. It's too much work trying to go through the emotions for everyone. And right now, we've got bigger stuff. Val, we've got to stop surviving as fast as possible.
She shook her head.
What?
I looked up for a second, searching for the words.
Look, it's like this. Survival is what you do to get by until rescue comes. It's a temporary state. We can't do that, or we're all screwed. We have to start living, and that's going to take work. We have to pull ahead of the survival curve, and it's going to take both of us, and they know it. We weren't random. We were chosen. One man and one woman, both within the same general age group, one who's done a ton of survival work, but the other who has skills the other either lacks or that are sympathetic to the other. And both are physically in shape enough to be able to push through this, and both of them speak English fluently, and are from within, 25 miles of each other out of the entire planet Earth, and both of whom are psychologically stable enough not to go cry in a corner forever when this went down, or immediately hit the blue button. It's too many coincidences in one straight run.
Val nodded along, listening as I continued.
Also, they haven't told us all the rules. I have some theories, but I think there might be an end around they haven't told us about. It's a game, and game rules are absolute.
I thought for a second, remembering an anime, oddly enough.
If you're playing an RPG and you encounter a locked door, you need a key for that door, whatever form the key takes. No matter your power or strength, you can't just break it down or take it off the hinges or knock out the wall around it. Same thing here, but here, we're being intentionally kept in the dark on things. They're intentionally limiting what we know, like a game of Texas Hold'em. You only know your cards and the cards on the river and everything else is a deduction. Like the audience participation. We weren't told about that until now. I just figured there might be an element of it, so just like on a reality show, we need to go for likability, strength, something that they can invest in. Unfortunately, like your daughter and my trauma. I'm sorry, I'd have told you earlier, but I didn't know about the privacy mode, and I didn't want to reveal it on camera, or it might have worked against us. Then there's the unanswered questions. The big one for me is the translators they gave us. Why bother letting us learn the other languages if the game just comes down to species versus species? How long can this go on for? No time limit of any kind has been expressed, so that could mean months, maybe up to a year. A straight fight between all of us would never take that long. But look at the containers. All the tools for long-term survival, as long as we can build on it. Why set rules that work against the tools we're given to accomplish it? There's a game beneath the game. It's like the Golden Child. You know that movie?
She tilted her head slightly.
I know of it, but never saw it.
Okay. Eddie Murphy is told that he has to carry a full glass of water across a chasm and retrieve a dagger. He makes it across, but there's a fire that jumps up when he tries to grab the dagger. The guy running the test tells him, "You have to know when to break the rules." I get that feeling, that the rules themselves are some sort of setup.
Val considered for a moment.
I get it, and mostly, you sound like you've got a beat on things. Can't say I'm not a bit angry about my daughter being used for this. But if we fail... All right, let's get back to the game and crack open these crates. I'd like to change into something other than the spandex suit.
I chuckled.
Really? 'Cause I mean, I do see some advantages to it.
She slapped me lightly on the arm and I disarmed privacy mode.
All right, now, let's see what they left for us.
We opened our containers at the same time. They were essentially simple affairs, but by the way they shifted when the locks were released, they were air and watertight.
Val, we might have stuff we can do with the containers.
Inside, right at the top of this container, were 2 sets of clothing, along with 2 sets of boots, 1 pair of solid hunting boots, and the other winter boots. They seemed to believe we'd be here a while. I pulled out the pants first. By appearance, 1 set could be worn over the other, increasing layering. I put on the lighter pants for now, saving the warmer set for when it got cold out. At first, they were big on me. Then they shrank to fit automatically. Neat! The boots were going to be a trick, since I couldn't remove the foot element of my suit without the rest of it. Then, noting a button about where my socks would pull up to, I pressed it, and the traction and padding receded and softened.
Huh. Hey Val, there's a button about halfway up the calf you'll need to press if you want to wear the boots.
Val nodded and did similarly. After getting dressed in lighter elements, including what was essentially a cowboy hat and scarf, I continued my inventory. They had included a lot of stuff in here. A couple of, I think wool sweaters, similar socks, 4 pairs of gloves, starting from ones that would just protect the hands from nicks, up to full Arctic gloves. Then there were the tools, 2 knives, a small survival knife, and a more distinct hunting knife. A basic mess kit, a bunch of what looked like paracord, rope, a backpack, 2 tarps, 1 medium-sized one, and a larger tarp. Fish hooks and line. As I went through, I called out items, and Val confirmed she had also received the same things in her container. Okay, So these are the standards to make sure you have the basic survival equipment for your species. But that also means Val and I didn't necessarily need to be teammates. Another question with no answer right now: the tarps, rope, and cord would make up our shelters, at least for the first little bit, and we each received a sleeping bag. Our initial inventory was taken care of. We moved on to the bonus container. A couple of more tarps, some MRE-type things with instructions, enough for a few days' meals. A fishing net called a gill net, a pair of small booklets, and at the bottom of the container, a bow and a quiver of arrows.
Oh, this is nice. Yeah, we got everything we need to get going.
Val smiled sardonically.
Gonna be a big game hunter?
I was grinning ear to ear.
Oh, not just a big game. Small game as well, whatever passes for fowl around here, or rabbits. Just gotta get used to the feel of it.
All in all, we had a full spread of equipment, but I was so consumed with the inventory, I hadn't actually looked at Val since she got dressed, and when I saw her, I couldn't help but laugh a bit. Val was not quite as amused.
Oh, when I find out the obvious male who did this, we're gonna have some words.
I'm sorry, hun. Really, I am. Pretty sure they just went by what our standards of good-looking women's clothing is. I mean, it all looks to still be functional, just, maybe a mite more snug than you might have liked. I won't keep harping on it, though. We got some work to be doing. Why don't you get started on a fire, and I'll take a jug down to the river and get water, and may see about some fish for dinner.
I mean, we have the prep meals, right?
Her brow furrowed a bit.
I'd rather save those for an emergency than run through them right now. Calories and nutrients are going to be a big issue for us.
I took the jug, my bow and arrows, along with several other items, heading down the other side of the bluff.
Hey everyone, hope you loved the video. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up, hit subscribe for more awesome sci-fi content. You can also support us by hitting the thanks button at the bottom of the video. Your generosity goes a long way. Every bit helps us bring you more stories from the stars. Thanks a bunch.